Good morning and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to take a ride with the new, to me, Centurion Lamar RS 650B conversion. It's done with quote marks around it, still kind of fiddling with the drivetrain. Let me explain. So last weekend I took it out for a ride. I had the 38T narrow wide chainring in the front and the 11 to 40 cassette in the back, the Shimano Olivio rear derailleur, and it had an extender. The derailleur hanger extender was on there. It was fine. The chain didn't come off the whole ride. I went to the library, returned a couple books, Emily Dickinson poems, and Let the Great World Spin by Colin McCann. Two great books. I got Jeff Tweedy from Wilco book. I've already read one of his books. This is kind of a follow-up, a shorter thing. And the official autobiography of In Excess. But it's actually not an autobiography. It's more of a biography, official biography. But fascinating nonetheless. I love reading about bands and how they come together and, all the dynamics there. Anyways, I wanted to test it out. Nice short ride to the library. It was fine except for some chain slap. I was getting some really bad chain slap in the higher gears, the smaller cogs in the back. When I would go to coast or stop pedaling, it would slap. And I spent a couple days trying to figure that out. What I actually ended up coming up with, after I swapped out all kinds of things, not a very methodical way to do it, by changing all these variables all the time, you really kind of lose track of what you're looking to adjust at some point. But what I ended up really coming up with was not that the chain length was fine, the tension was fine. It was more like a dragging thing. It was the chain ring. The chain ring was very grabby. That was what was causing the slap. It would kind of hook on to those teeth. It's doing its job too well, I guess. I couldn't really switch it out with a normal chain ring because I was really losing the chain when I did it that way. It was not working right. But with the narrow wide, it keeps the chain on. I didn't lose the chain at all, but it was slapping all over the place. So I went back to the drawing board. I tried a couple different things with the Olivio still. I tried to do the Olivio with just the 40T and not the extender, and it didn't really work well. I think it has something to do with those new Shimano derailleurs where they have that kind of built-in extender on there. I think it was too much. It was putting the derailleur pulleys way too far away from the cassette, so I was having trouble even shifting into the highest gear. Never mind the slap. So that was a problem. What I kind of figured out was, it was that chain ring, and then the chain itself was a brand new chain. They kind of have this gummy lube from the factory, more designed to prevent rust than anything else. And while on a lot of bikes, I'll just leave it on there until the next time I need to lube the chain, and then I clean it off and lube it. This one, I think, combined with the really cold weather we've had, made the chain extra kind of stiff. So I think that was contributing. In the meantime, I remembered, and I just thought this might be cool to try, I had a Shimano Rapid Rise XT derailleur in my bins that I've been kind of looking for a project to put it on. So I said, well, why not try it? And I didn't even use the extender. I put it on there, and it cleared the 40T pulley no problem. And I still had some room to kind of tug the cage, so it's not maxed out. And it actually shifted great. I cleaned the chain off. I scrubbed the chain ring a little bit. It immediately was a little better. And just not having the derailleur extender with that derailleur, I think it just pulled everything closer together, made everything play a little nicer as it was meant to be. I don't think that XT derailleur is rated for a 40-tooth large cog, but it clears it like it was made for it. It's actually pretty cool. Now the Rapid Rise is the whole thing all together. I'm sure you've seen videos on it. Rivendell, Grant Peterson at Rivendell is a huge fan, and I think they just commissioned a build of, sort of a reinvention of the Rapid Rise derailleur, which was only around for a couple of years. way back, and they're selling them new. They like them so much. And what it is it's a low normal derailleur. So its default position, the spring is reversed, and its default position is in the big cog. So when you shift, you pull on the shifter, and it goes down. The tension makes it go down to the harder gears. And then when you hit a hill, or you want easier gear, you release the tension on the lever, and it pops the gears back up. And it seems to do it, I don't know, it just seems a little more natural that way. Just kind of like skips right up the gears. And I was having trouble with the original setup. I was really having to yank the shifter. I was making it do a lot of work to get into that big cog, and I wasn't liking how it felt. But with this rapid rise, I don't know if it's the rapid rise or one of the other 9 things I changed, but it really kind of pops it right up into that low gear. It's kind of nice. It really works well. So it's kind of neat. It's kind of intuitive. After a few minutes, you're shifting, and you're like, oh, okay, this is what I got to do. You still got to think about it a little bit. Every other bike that I have is the opposite. But it's really neat, and it's easy to set up and works really well. Works really well on this bike too, which is trial and error has been this drivetrain. So I went for a ride yesterday. Much better, felt much better, could get into those high gears no problem. One thing I'm sort of experiencing with this new setup with the 38T and the 40T is that it's a little low for a road setup. The high is pretty low and the low is really low, which is really nice. You hit the steep hills and it's like you're just you're sort of walking up, but it's nice. That 40T 38-40 sub 1:1 ratio is really nice. That's what I was looking for. Now on the other end, the higher gears, does take a little getting used to. It's training your brain to go into that highest gear, to that hardest gear, which you almost never do on like a traditional 2x, 3x setup. You're not really using that highest gear. It's just there because one of them has to be the highest, that 11 tooth or whatever it is. But then, you're riding around and you just kind of get used to it. You train your brain, just like the rapid rise. You get used to going around in that highest gear, and then you're okay. Still kind of low for a high gear. I found myself coasting a lot more than I usually do, and spinning a lot more than I usually do, trying to find that right gear. But I think it's just more getting used to it than anything. And if I load this up with a rack or like a front bag or something, it's gonna put some weight on it. That'll make it all the more sort of a good fit for that kind of stuff. But I do love these wheels. I raved about them last time, but they really feel nice on the road. They don't make a sound. There was no popping or tension or anything like that, which tells me that I kind of did it the right way. Nothing's out of true. It's only been 2 rides, but the tires feel really nice. I'm surprised at how nice the tires are. I really, they do have some give. They're 38s. I don't have them pumped up all the way. I've only got them to like 40 something. The Tektro long reach brakes I really like. I'm surprised. That's probably the biggest surprise, just on its face, is just how nice those brakes are. I figured with the long reach, you might lose something, but it's a nice dual pivot setup, and the pads are just the whatever Tektro ones came with the calipers. I bought them new. It just feels really nice. They stop nice. Feels like a nice road bike. So that's about it. I did a nice little ride out in the towns yesterday. It was kind of busy. There were a lot of cars out, but a lot of potholes. You got to kind of the streets are just mangled from this winter that we had with all the snow. But it was a lot of fun. Really nice bike to ride. I look forward to just keep getting my body used to it, and at the same time, it's early spring, so like I'm getting used to riding again. So as I get in better shape, we'll see what else I tweak with this drivetrain. I don't know. In my mind, I might keep an eye out for like a Sora 9-speed 2x group set. I don't know. I do like the 1x. I like the simplicity, the weight savings of not having a front derailleur. Aesthetics, I like the one by how it looks. But I don't know, we'll see. You never know. I've always got that itch to change things. This is kind of a test bed sort of project, rolling restoration. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Gonna try to get out there, keep riding. This one hopefully will take me some long distances this year as it gets warmer. Thanks for joining me. Wanted to update you guys on how everything's coming together. So I've settled on a totally random, different rapid rise derailleur. I have a different crankset that I originally started with. A lot has changed. Different chain, all kinds of stuff. Different shifters. I tried the bar end shifter. I went back to the down tube shifter. It's a work in progress. See you next time. Bye bye.